Imagine standing in a quiet temple in ancient Egypt. The air is warm and smells like sweet incense. Tall stone columns rise above you, covered in carvings of gods and symbols. You hear soft chanting as a priest slowly unrolls a long scroll. The scroll is covered in colorful pictures and strange writing. It is not a storybook, it is a guide for the dead. It tells the soul how to travel through the underworld and reach the afterlife. This scroll is part of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. The Book of the Dead was not really a book like we think of today. It was a collection of magical spells and prayers. These spells were written on papyrus scrolls. Some were also written on tomb walls, coffins, or even pieces of linen. The Egyptians believed the spells helped a person's spirit after they died. The Book of the Dead gave the dead the knowledge they needed to pass tests, avoid danger, and find peace in the next world. Egyptians believed in life after death. They thought the soul kept living after the body died. But the soul had to travel through the underworld, which was full of tests and dangers. This place was called the Duat. It was a dark and confusing place filled with strange creatures and tricky paths. The soul had to pass through it to reach a peaceful place called the Field of Reeds. In this place, the soul would live forever, happy and safe, surrounded by family, food, and joy. The Book of the Dead gave step-by-step help. Some spells protected the soul from snakes, monsters, or fire. Other spells helped the soul remember the names of gods or secret words. One very famous spell was Spell 125. In this spell, the soul stood before Osiris, the god of the dead. The soul's heart was weighed against the feather of truth. If the heart was too heavy with sin, it would be eaten by a monster called Ammit, a creature with the head of a crocodile, the body of a lion, and the back legs of a hippopotamus. If the heart was light, the soul could go on to the afterlife. To prepare for this important journey, people were buried with the Book of the Dead. Rich people paid scribes to make special scrolls just for them. These scrolls could be very long, some were over 70 feet. The scrolls had beautiful painted pictures in red, black, blue, green, and gold. These pictures showed gods, people, and scenes from the underworld. They helped the soul understand what to do at each step of the journey. The Book of the Dead was not the same for everyone. Some scrolls had many spells, and some had only a few. People chose the spells they thought were most helpful. Over time, new spells were added. The earliest spells were written over 4,000 years ago. At first, they were carved into pyramid walls. Later, they were written on coffins. Finally, they were written on scrolls that were buried with the dead. The spells were written in a kind of writing called hieroglyphs. These were picture symbols that stood for sounds, words, or ideas. Only trained scribes could read and write them. Scribes were very important people in ancient Egypt. They worked slowly and carefully to make sure each spell was written correctly. A mistake could mean trouble for the soul in the afterlife. The Book of the Dead showed what the Egyptians believed. They believed the afterlife was important and that it could be full of joy if the soul was prepared. They believed people should live a good life and treat others fairly. They believed in truth, order, and balance. These ideas were called ma'at. Living with ma'at helped a person's heart stay light for the final test. Today, many parts of the Book of the Dead have been found in tombs. Some are now in museums around the world. These scrolls help us understand what ancient Egyptians thought about death and what came after it. The Book of the Dead was not scary to the Egyptians. It was a book of hope. It helped them believe that life continued. It gave them comfort that their loved ones were safe. It showed that even after death, there was a journey and a new beginning too.